On Sunday, 28 January, Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger announced they were leaving the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, immediately. All three countries, which were founding members of ECOWAS in 1975, are currently led by military officials. Now, this decision by these three countries, announced in a joint statement read out on Nigerian national television, is a blow to ECOWAS integration efforts for the three countries after it had suspended them following their respective military takeovers. Relations between Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger and ECOWAS have deteriorated for months, and this is the latest chapter of this story. ECOWAS was established in 1975 through the Treaty of Lagos with the sole mission of achieving economic integration across the region of West Africa. However, the bloc struggled to advance its agenda due to extreme political volatility and perpetual civil wars in West Africa. After acknowledging that true economic integration can only be built upon sustainable peace and political stability, ECOWAS revised its founding treaty in July 1993 to include a mandate to facilitate peace, security and stability in West Africa. In December 2001, the bloc went on to adopt the Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance, which states that every accession to power must be made through free, fair and transparent elections, and that member states must demonstrate a zero tolerance for power obtained or maintained by unconstitutional means. This particular protocol marked an important stage in the region's political development, which, as I alluded to earlier, was characterized by long periods of the armed forces being deeply involved in political decision-making. However, the past 3 to 4 years have been quite a challenge for the organization. In this period, 4 countries from the 15-member regional bloc have experienced a military coup d'etat and an unlawful change of leadership. In Mali, on May 24, 2021, Colonel Assimi Goïta and his allies within the armed forces arrested President Dor and his civilian Prime Minister Mokhtar Ouane. Colonel Assimi Goïta then assumed the interim presidency, the legitimacy of which was affirmed by the Constitutional Court on 28 May. The military's actions, widely considered to have been a coup, were condemned by ECOWAS and the African Union as well as others on the international stage. The lack of a definite timeline for return to civilian rule in Mali also infuriated the former colonial power France as well as ECOWAS, which then instituted sanctions against Mali. Nevertheless, Assimi Goïta was formally sworn in as interim president on July 7, 2021. In September 2022, Burkina Faso suffered its second coup in less than 9 months. Then 34-year-old Army Captain Ibrahim Traoré seized power, ousting Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Damiba, who led the coup in January of that year. As for Niger, on July 26, 2023, an army spokesperson would appear on television surrounded by a group of men in fatigues to announce that the military has seized power. 2 days later, on 20th July, the head of the Presidential Guard, Brigadier General Abdurrahmane Chiani, declared himself the head of the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland, the military junta that had been set up after the coup of 26 July. General Chiani and his military leaders would assume total government control, and President Mohamed Bazoum, the incumbent, was placed under house arrest, awaiting trial for alleged crimes of high treason. In all the 3 coups that I've mentioned, the coup leaders linked their actions to the continued deterioration of the security situation and poor economic and social governance. In those 3 countries, the security situation in particular has been because of jihadist-inspired terrorist groups that have been wreaking havoc in the Sahel. Attacks by the Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, JNIM, an Al-Qaeda offshoot, and by the Islamic State Sahel have been on the rise over the years in the Sahelian tri-border region among Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. After the military takeovers, ECOWAS reacted by suspending all 3 countries and imposed heavy sanctions on Niger and Mali. In all cases, ECOWAS' swift and tough response is commensurate with its zero-tolerance policy on unconstitutional changes of government. In Niger, on 1 August 2023, in line with the ECOWAS decision to sanction Niger after the coup, Nigeria cut its electricity supply, representing about 70% of Niger's consumption. In fact, Nigeria's president and current ECOWAS chair, Bola Tinubu, was reportedly the strongest advocate for a return to constitutional order, including through military intervention in Niger. In this regard, ECOWAS issued an ultimatum to the coup leaders in Niger, threatening military intervention if deposed President Mohamed Bazoum was not returned to power. This is all while Mali and Burkina Faso welcomed the coup in Niger and even pledged to defend it against external intervention aimed at restoring President Bazoum to office. In September 2023, the three countries, Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali, withdrew from an international force known as the G5 that was set up to fight Islamists in the Sahel region and formed their own pact called the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. Now, from an economic standpoint, ever since the coup, the situation in Niger has become increasingly grim. Already, this country suffers chronic food insecurity due to floods and droughts, among other things. ECOWAS sanctions have disrupted Niger's food imports, triggering a spike in prices for basic commodities. Niger, being a landlocked country, brings in most of its imports by road, particularly from Benin and Nigeria. These sanctions have largely put a halt to this trade, as well as to electricity supplies from Nigeria, which was meeting over 2/3 of domestic demand in Niger. It has been reported that, over the past few months, pharmacies have been running out of stock and numerous hospitals have been struggling to coup vaccines for infants. Since the coups, the military leaders have hardened their rhetoric against ECOWAS and accused it of being influenced by external powers. The three countries have also cut military and cooperation ties with the former colonial master France and have turned to Russia for security support. Despite the sanctions, negotiations, and threats of military intervention, the military leaders in these three countries have failed to provide a clear timetable to return their respective countries to constitutional rule. This then leads us to Sunday, 20th January 2024. On this day, Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger announced that they had withdrawn from ECOWAS. The three countries accused ECOWAS of inhumane sanctions to reverse the coups in their nations. The following is a statement that was released by the countries. Eager to achieve integration between the states of the sub-region and driven by the ideals of brotherhood, solidarity, mutual aid, peace and development, Their Excellencies General Abubakar Sangwele Lamizana, General Musa Traore, and Lieutenant Colonel Seyni Koinchi, respectively heads of state of Upper Volta, now Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, created with 12 of their peers on May 28, 1975 in Lagos, Nigeria, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. After 49 years of existence, the valiant people of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger note with much regret, bitterness and great disappointment that their organization has moved away from the ideals of its founding fathers and Pan-Africanism. Furthermore, ECOWAS, under the influence of foreign powers, betraying its founding principles, has become a threat to its member states and its populations whose happiness it is supposed to ensure. Indeed, the organization has not provided assistance to our states in the context of our existential fight against terrorism and insecurity. Worse, when these states decided to take their destiny into their own hands, it adopted an irrational and unacceptable posture by imposing illegal, illegitimate, inhumane, and irresponsible sanctions in violation of its own texts. Faced with this continuing situation, Their Excellencies Captain Ibrahim Traore, Colonel Assimi Goita, and Brigadier General Abdurrahmane Chiani, respectively heads of state of Burkina Faso, the Republic of Mali, and the Republic of Niger, taking all their responsibilities in the face of history and responding to the expectations, concerns, and aspirations of their populations, deciding complete sovereignty on the immediate withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from the Economic Community of West African States. It is not immediately clear how the process of the country's withdrawal from ECOWAS will be carried out. Later on that very same day, on Sunday 20th January, ECOWAS would issue the following response. The ECOWAS Commission is yet to receive any direct formal notification from the three member states about their intention to withdraw from the community. The ECOWAS Commission, as directed by the Authority of Heads of State and Government, has been working assiduously with these countries for the restoration of constitutional order. Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali remain important members of the community, and the authority remains committed to finding a negotiated solution to the political impasse. This story between these three countries and ECOWAS is still unfolding, and it will be interesting to see how it plays out in the coming days. Don't forget to like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been Tatenda for African Biographics. Until next time, cheers. Have a good one.